Oh, yeah. Lil Wayne.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back. It is a Tuesday night. You notice Zach's missing, but that's okay. I'm Chad Brock, and this guy is
Jason
Jason
Kayak.
Cassidy.
What's up?
You guys are watching 38th edition of that Orion podcast. Let's hit that music. What is up, everybody? Welcome back outdoor to the core. We are the Orion podcast. I'd like to thank a few people, though. Me and Jason, we both like to thank our buddy Chris over at Basco. He hooks us up, gives us some sweet threads. He's got new styles out. He's like thinking of more stuff like right now. So do yourself a favor. Head over bascofishing.com. Give Chris a follow on the socials, on the medias, and pick up some swag. He's got t-shirts, he's got hats, he's got flavor of the month shirts, and he's always changing stuff, coming out with new designs. They're all, custom did up shirts, and they're just soft. They're cool, and just you need one. You need one. You owe it to yourself. Obviously, Z Pro Lithium. Jason's sporting the Z Pro Lithium shirt. You got the Z Pro koozie tonight. So thanks to the crew over at Z Pro Lithium, keeping Jason and I and Zach powered all year long. We love them. Head over to zprolithium.com. Grab your battery. You'll love it. It'll be the best battery you've ever bought. If not, hey, you got an 8-year warranty. You can get you another brand new one. They will hook you up at Z Pro Lithium. So check those guys out. Cast King. Jason, we love Cast King.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Good stuff. Great cast and reels. Highly recommend the Mega Jaws Elite. If you guys haven't give the Mega Jaws Elite a cast or two, you should definitely do so. Pick up the Speed Demon rod. Absolutely buttery, crispy, and just good stuff. So castking.com, head over there, check those guys out. Tell them the Orion podcast sent you. Then to round this whole thing out, we got to thank Jackson Kayak and Orion Coolers. Jackson Kayak keeps us paddling, keeps us on the water. Orion Coolers keeps us cool, keeps our beverages cool while we're on the water. And after we get off the water, we've always got something cold to drink, and that's a plus. So pick yourself up an Orion Cooler, use Orion Rocks, save yourself 5%. You deserve it. You've earned it. It's your hard-earned money. You should save a little bit. And tell them Orion Podcast sent you. It's that simple. It's that simple. The advertising is officially done. We're done. No more advertising. We are here tonight. Zach is gone. He's on a hunt somewhere in the great mountains of the state of Colorado. And no sign yet. They've seen sign, but they've not gotten any close shots yet. I texted him today. I was like, "What's up, dude? What's the ETA? What's the status?" Nothing.
Nothing.
So now you're stuck with me and Jason.
That's right. And hey, that could be a good thing. I don't think we're sloppy seconds, but you're definitely looking at seconds over here on the right side of your screen for sure. So
No, not at all, man. Not at all. You've had a year, man. We've had you on the podcast. You are like the repeat offender of the podcast.
yeah,
But you're
I
always a
hope
good
there's kind
time.
of like a 3 strikes and you're out type of thing. You know what I mean? So I
I'm gonna
love
get you a shirt that says "Call for a good podcast."
Yes. Yeah, you can
I
always
like that.
give me a call. I'm that emergency contact that's good to
Yeah.
have around for sure.
I'm gonna text Chris right now and be like, hey, we just come up with this really good idea for a shirt. Call me for a fishing podcast. I like that.
If anybody can do it, it's Chris over at Basco. I'm sure he could. He'd throw it down in a heartbeat.
Oh, without a doubt he would. Without a doubt he would. We got Wyatt in the house tonight. Good evening. Good evening. Oh, let's see. Reaching that Orion cooler and toss me a back. I'd love to if it would come through the screen, but we're not quite there technology wise. But I can feel it one day, Dell. It's gonna happen.
Forward beverage. Yeah, we need to dive into those coolers. Those coolers hold nice a little bit longer than they were a few weeks ago, aren't they? I mean, it's starting to get a little chilly. It was 55 down here in Chattanooga this morning. I
Oh
mean,
man.
crisp. Felt good.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, we had a balmy 47 up here in the Hoosier State, and let me tell you, it was we've officially reached sweatshirt and shorts weather, and that's my favorite time of year. Start the day in a sweatshirt, but you still got the shorts on. Then by midday, you
Oh,
usually
that's strong, yeah.
it's a great day to wear a long sleeve shirt all day. Actually,
Well, and the nice thing about Basco or a lot of fishing apparel out there, this red hair, my skin is quite fair, so I love the SPF qualities that Chris has on those shirts, and I rock the long sleeves pretty much 365 days a year.
well,
Rain
you know,
time
and
doesn't matter.
when you bundle up and you've got the long sleeve protection on, and then you're fishing. You kind of get used to it after a few 90-degree days, and it's like it just really don't even bother you.
Mm.
People always look at you like when you got the hood up and you got the glasses on, you got your sleeves all down. They're like, "What in the world?" This guy, I mean, most of your pleasure kayakers they're out there with their shirt off, life jackets stowed in the back, and it's like, man,
Not this guy.
no,
That'd be a one
not
and
this
done
guy.
for me. I'd be in the emergency room with a 45-degree burn. You know what I mean? I would be tore down. Ain't no way I could ever survive that kind of mess for sure.
Jesse's just going to be 40 on Tuesday. Man,
Dang,
you
baby.
making a couple guys feel old right here.
Hey,
You
yeah, the
puppy.
cinnamon sugar, man. I tell you what, I'm every day is just a little more gray every single day. I'm counting it down, man. I don't know what's going to happen here. By the time I hit 50, I'm sure I will be completely whited out.
I hear you. Big Rig is back. I'm stoked about that. Vicky, hello, Vicky. What's up? Um, talking about long sleeves and different things and all that. So, dudes, I got wild last week and posted a question on my Facebook feed because if you want to learn anything about anything, you can just ask a question on Facebook, and you've always got a lot of people that are willing to chime in. My question was, is paddling dead? Like, I don't remember how many comments I got, but it was well into the hundreds.
Yeah.
And it was a great adult conversation. But as two human powered anglers still out there, we're still trucking along, doing it the old fashioned way, if you will. What do you think? I never got your take on it. What do you think? Is paddling how I mean paddle sports has changed. It's changed. That's part of it. It evolves, it changes. What do you think? Are
It's
we
it.
trending away?
No, I think, and I saw that in some of the comments. Um, the some of the tournament series to maintain a level of competitiveness, it's thought that you might have to motorize, right, to extend your range, maybe to get from A to B a little bit faster than another guy or gal.
Mhm,
So I think in the tournament game, there's more of a push to go towards motors. Um,
mhm.
But I mean, what we need to consider and remember is in the relatively small niche of kayak fishing, the tournament niche is even smaller. You know what I mean? A good majority
Oh,
of people are pleasure or recreational kayakers. They might throw a rod or two with them when they go out. But for them, no, it's not dead. It's, if anything, it's blowing up.
mm,
Um, you you see it everywhere you go. There's kayaks especially around here. Every other car's got some recreational kayaks tossed on top of it,
mhm.
or they've got kayak racks for the recreational kayaks. So I don't think paddling or pedaling is dead by any stretch of the imagination. Now, in some of the tournament stuff, um, it might not be as cool to
Mhm.
human powered vessel, but um, yeah, I don't think it's dead at all, Chad. To be honest with you.
No, and I don't either. I tell you what, we've kind of been watching something that is a little bit. I guess you would say like when we go, whether it's you, me and my wife, or me and the other guys, we spend a day. I mean, we're out there hours on end. We'll get there just as the sun's coming up, or the sun's not even up. We're unpacking the boats. We're getting ready to go, and like I had poor Josh. He was starving. He was famished by the time I let him go eat this past weekend. I was like,
Right.
no, we're still working. We got stuff to do. And, fishing and working at the same time. So you're fishing and taking pictures, but it's like, we got to spend a day at it, especially right now because we're losing time. But one of the things that I've noticed as I wave scissors around, um, we have got a lot of people that just come to the lake for like a couple hours. These pleasure kayaks and different things. Completely different deal than what we are, in the sense that we spend countless hours on the water, whereas these folks are, they're just coming in, paddling for a little bit, and heading out.
Yeah.
But I mean, 2 hour, 2, 3 hours, that's about the max that a lot of people spend on the water compared to us.
Oh yeah, I mean they get burnt out on it pretty quick. It's kind of like watching a football game or any other sporting event. It's typically a 2, maybe 3 hour window, and then they're done and they're on to the next thing. Just like watching reels instead of long form video. Um, I mean, that's people's attention spans are relatively short. They want to go out there, have a fun activity, and move on. Where when we're out there, either A, y'all are out there, shooting, taking some shots, or someone like me and a lot of other anglers, we're out there, practicing, for a tournament, practicing a
Mhm.
different technique. You're toning your craft, if you will, while you're out there on the water. Yes, it's enjoyable, and it could still be fun fishing, but we're still learning and taking away little nuggets as we go. So it hits a little bit different. It's not just a fun activity for us. It's kind of either a way of life or a job to some extent.
Mhm.
So I think there's a little bit different level there for sure.
Well, and I think for me, a lot of it, regardless if I was doing this the way I do it right now, I'm still a kid, so I still chase the outdoors in passion. It's like, we're those kids of the children of the '90s that we came in when the street light came on, and I just don't. If it wasn't this, it would be something else.
Absolutely, yeah.
I just want to be outside, and I think a lot of us that pursue this thing and we're outside all the time and we're outside all day, whether it's hunting, fishing, whatever. I mean, it's built into us. It's just who we are. Is we just as soon be outside lost as we would be to be found.
Amen to that. Yeah, for sure. Outdoors is, especially like we were talking about with the weather. Right now, you can't keep me inside. It's just the time of year to always be outside. Get out there, go hiking, camping. The nights will feel amazing. You won't sweat to death in a tent. It's perfect camping weather. You could build a fire and not get burnt to death because it's too
Not
hot.
get burnt, chewed
Yeah,
up by skeeters.
I mean, heck, we went to the state park down the street here and walked 4.5 miles and dropped the tailgate, popped the cooler open, sat up there with the dogs and just sat there and watched the antics on the boat ramp. I mean, it was just being outside, just being one with nature, one with the people outside. It's the best. So if you're
It
watching this
is. It is.
podcast, I'm guessing you're an outdoors enthusiast. But if you're not, get out there. It's the bee's knees.
It is. And we sell those, jacksonkayak.com. You can get those, pop them in your whitewater, older whitewater Jackson kayaks and, sales pitch. I said I wasn't advertising anymore. I tried to get that out of the way so you guys don't have to listen to the antics of it. Um,
Well,
so,
yeah, yeah.
Gene,
Going back to your paddle sports deal, I mean, these manufacturers, especially Jackson with the new Mark IV Flex Drive, I mean, it human powered kayaking is
Mhm.
very enjoyable. These boats,
It
they
is.
paddle or pedal extremely well. There's really no need to add motors and add 400 graphs and add all this. Sometimes just get out there and enjoy it. You'll find that it's a lot more enjoyable when you don't have all that extra crud on it.
It can be for sure. I mean, and I think there's a time and a place for it. If you're fishing for big stakes, big money, I mean, yeah, all the gizmos and gadgets and whoop-de-doos help. You know, I mean, I take less tackle than I used to because it's like finally like, well, do I really need all my 3/4 ounce jigs to fish 20 feet of water? No. So, it's a learning curve on some of that. And I think, I've scaled back my tackle. I keep different tackle with me. So if I do need to make a change, kayak fishing, the beauty of kayak fishing is you can go to the truck and grab something if you need it, in most instances. So I do keep a little bit of spare stuff with me, just in case I would need something or lose or need an extra bag of this or that. But that kind of works out well, in my favor. I mean, I make it work. Gene brings up an interesting point. A lot of a lot of rec kayak anglers maybe don't come out prepared to spend the whole day. No food, no shirt, they're sunburned, not enough water. That's a good point. I think we've talked about that a couple times. You and I and Zach was, snacks, boat snacks, um, and then bringing along like plenty of water, like half gallon of water, because it's pretty incredible. I mean, just my evolution in fishing and seeing some of the different things that have gone on. Knowing that if I drink enough water, I feel so much better while I'm out there. Like this, I don't feel the sun beating. I guess it'd be the way to put it.
Yep. Yeah, you won't feel the sun as much. The knees, little things like even lower back pain. Uh, those
Hmm.
can be headed off slightly, by staying well hydrated. I mean, your body needs that, and as soon as it doesn't have that proper lubrication in different places, it'll let you know real quick. It'll tighten up.
Vicky, you should meet our friend Nick Brummett. He like packs all kinds of food. He cooks. It's his thing. Uh, Jesse says beef jerky for the win. Ain't nothing wrong with a good bag of beef jerky. Um, so you've had a big year. And we always talk about the big stuff with you and this upstart of the Jackson Kayak Trail um, has occupied a lot of your summer. How do you feel like it went? Do you feel like, I mean, kind of give us a little bit of a feedback on the first year of the trail and yeah, how it went. Just
Um,
exactly what I said and asked twice.
I think it went well. When you look at the numbers and you start to break everything down, the number of anglers that participated in the Jackson Kayak Trail this year uh, is surprisingly good. and we're spread all over the country from New York all the way down to Texas and everywhere in between. And what really I like the most about the JK Trail are the new anglers, new kayak anglers that we're kind of looking for that gateway drug, if you will, to get into the competitive fishing side of things, where there's not a lot of pressure. It's not super expensive, so it's not like an elitist uh, sport division of the kayak realm, and we're welcoming, and we really want people to have that camaraderie on and off the water. We encourage meetups before or after the event, so we can shake hands and introduce ourselves and really form that community feel that the kayak space has always been known for. You get to some of these events anymore, and it seems like it's very distant. There's no meetups. Heck, a lot of times it's not even on. If it's like an online event, it's not on the same day or even the same body of water.
Right.
So it's really hard to make that connection. So I understand where that could be a decent way to get into it, but to really, get into kayak fishing and that community, you need to have a community. So I think that's something the JK Trail has really brought to the forefront, and we're going to continue to really dig into that piece and make that, one of the big focuses is to get people outside, get people on their kayaks, involved in a community of fishermen and fisherwomen, and get out there and have fun and be competitive.
Yeah, and that kind of circles back to one of the first statements that you made. Very kayak tournament fishing it can be a very small niche, and I think that stuff like this is important to continue to spread growth. Something that's a little more down home, I guess would be the way to put it. Because you've got so we hit the same pot a lot. It doesn't matter if you're local. It doesn't matter if you're a national trail. If you look at the national events, a lot of the anglers are repeat offenders, except for the guys that just won't, do the BOS because they don't want to go out there without the motor or whatever. But at the end of the day, you really look at it, and it's a lot of the same people,
Yeah.
a lot of the same pot. You look at your local events, and especially here in Indiana, it's this we're the same group of people going to this event, this event, this event, this event. So it's important to have something, some way for all these little events that are local to bring in the new kayak angler. And how do you think we continue to bring in the new kayak angler? What do we do to appeal to that recreational angler to say, hey, these guys kind of seem cool. They kind of seem fun. Maybe I'd like to get into a little bit of that.
We'll be inviting, you know what I mean? And inviting can be a very broad brush, but like tournament directors like yourself, where you're at the ramp, you're there in person, you're checking people in, putting everybody's money together in the food jar, if you will, and then letting people know that you don't have to have a $5,000 kayak. You don't have to have $4,000 motor setups and $10,000 in electronics. And a lot of times you see these crazy, awesome, tricked out kayaks on the national scale, and people will, well, that's what I have to compete. Nah, I'm not going to do that. You don't need that. You know what I mean? And we need to keep spreading that to people. Like, okay, you can get out here with a little cheap sun dolphin if you wanted to, a little sit-in kayak, and go out there and have a good time. So we need to keep it open for everybody. Keep it as a non-elitist sport, which I think fishing as a whole is kind of getting into that realm. It's one of the only sports out there where it's just an open wallet. You know what I mean? If you can afford it, you can put it on your boat and give you that much more of a competitive edge. No other sport does that. Everything kind of sort of caps out at a certain point. You go from college to major league, yeah, you don't get that aluminum bat anymore. You got to use a wooden bat. NASCAR, everything, everybody's got a, mic'd out car that meets all these specs, same horsepower. It comes down to the driver that's out there actually winning the races. And I would like to see, maybe kayak fishing or bass fishing as a whole kind of get into that realm. Not to get on a Randy Blockett soapbox or anything crazy like that, but at some point, you need to dial it back just a little bit and let the fisherman be the one that's out there competing, not just who can have the best, fanciest, most awesome stuff because they got a deeper wallet than someone else. So we want to make sure at USA Bass and the Jackson Kayak Trail that um, we keep that at the forefront. You don't have to have all that stuff. And we would love to have you come out. No one's going to judge you if you have a $500 to $200 kayak. We take them all.
Well, and tell me this, dude, but I think this is one of the neater things about kayak fishing is the fact that it doesn't really matter which level you play at. There is a way there's a way for you to take your box store brand kayak
Mhm.
um and show up at any level of kayak fishing right now. One, the advantage is like you can go to any event, you can go to multiple boat ramps. So you can always look for that safe haven if you're that person that's looking for something like this to do, and looking to, you know, try your feet at it. You can go to the boat ramp that's kind of hidden, kind of in a big cove or whatever that's all idle zone, and you can still get out there and play.
Mhm.
And you know what? You might do well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, it is fishing. So
Mhm.
you are gambling whenever you enter a fishing tournament, but you're gambling on you and yourself. You know what I mean? Your abilities to read the water and outsmart those little green and brown fish that we're targeting. Anybody on any given day can show up and take your money. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it, especially if you've got intimate knowledge of a body of water. If you fish Lake Monroe 2, 3 times a month and you've got a Jackson bite that's just got a couple rod holders and a paddle, and someone shows up with a rigged out NAR with a 3 horsepower motor and a windshield full of graphs and everything that's never been on the place, time on the water and experience is going to trump all that fancy electronics and motors every day of the week. So yeah, you can definitely show up and take somebody's money no matter what you got, for sure.
Even if you don't win, you're gonna have fun, make some new friends. Absolutely.
You're definitely going to
There,
have fun. You're going to make some friends.
there's usually enough beer at these events that like to go around. So I'm just saying. That's probably what's not talked about is kayak anglers are really good at drinking beer. Um,
Yeah, it's just
it's
around.
just part
We
of
got it. We,
it's just
we
part of it. We're good at what we do.
absolutely.
Let's see. More comments coming in on the 30th. Can't wait. Sweet. Tear it up, man. Let's see. Every event so far. But no, I mean, moving forward, I think that's, kind of that future is how you just keep introducing this to new people. And, we talk about the big boats and the decked out boats. At the same time, one of the things through the relaunch of the big rig I talked about a lot was the fact that that boat showed what was possible, to myself and a lot of other people. Because when you look at the smaller kayaks, like probably back then it was probably the OG Kusa. You look at it and you think, man, that's all small. and you're like, well, I don't want to fall in. I'm coming from a big boat. And then you kind of look at the big rig and you're like, yeah, I could do that. Then you get in
Yeah.
and it's like fishing on a freaking sheet of plywood. And you're like, it opens up the possibilities of what's out there. And I think, you know, it makes me curious, like, how do we keep opening up those possibilities? And, do you think that these bigger kayaks like the Big Rig and Nar and some of the others out there are just good conversation pieces to let people know what's possible?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, without a doubt. And I think people have grown a little more, I want to say accustomed to, but the bass boat anglers have started to trend a little more to like, I get that. It's starting to make a little
Mhm.
more to me where it used to be like, oh, I'm going to fall out. I'd dump it first thing. I mean, that's what
Right.
people said. And then they would say, why don't you just get a bass boat? You got all that stuff on there. Why don't you get a bass boat? Um, but, these glitter boats are now six figures.
Mhm.
Uh, and yes, the kayak space can get expensive if you want it to be, if you let it be, or if you can afford it to be. But you're
Mhm.
still talking a very, very, very steep decline compared to the bass boat world when it comes to how much money you're going to have to shell out. So
Mhm.
that kayak space is going to be relevant, especially in a down economy where people are pinching their money a little bit tighter, maybe. But
Mhm.
get out there on the water, have fun, and if you want to be competitive, you can trick these things out and go after it with against some elite series anglers.
Mhm.
Or the BPT guys. There's going to be a couple more that are going to fish these national events next year, which is super cool. You can't just go and get $100,000 bass boat, sign up to fish an open or an elite series event or a BPT event because you got to qualify for it and go and compete against Mike Iaconelli or Greg DePalma or Brandon Polinick or Carl
Mhm.
Jochimson. You can't just go and compete against these guys, but in the kayak, you can. And I think that's
Mhm.
one cool thing about our sport, where those elite series and BPT guys are starting to filter down into the kayak space because it's fishing, it's competitive, it's fun, um,
Mhm.
and that's what they do. They do it for a living, and we can go out there and compete right alongside with them. So, hey, there's another reason to get in a kayak.
And besides the pure enjoyment, um, I think that's great, man. I mean, I don't know. I'm curious to see where it all goes from here. Like, obviously right now anybody can jump in any tournament, and I think that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great stepping stone, but I think eventually, do you believe that there will be something that separates pro from amateur level?
I do. We've been talking about that a lot this year. Um, I was talking with Greg DePalma and Carl Jochimson, and that conversation was. I think we're within maybe a 2 year time frame to where someone maybe it could be like a Bassmaster um, that steps in and says, okay, we're going to have a qualifying series where maybe you take the top 25 from the BOS and you take the top 25 from the Bassmaster National Trail and you end up with 50 anglers. You know what I mean? And you make it a $500 to $1,000 a tournament buy-in. You pay for them up front, and you got to pay for them all. It's a five tournament whatever series, and just like any other top level fishing platform, it's going to be the same group of 50 anglers all year that you're
Mhm.
competing against, duking it out for AOI and some decent money. And that way we can have a pro kayak division instead of just a bunch of open divisions. I think it's possible. I think it'd be fun.
Mhm.
And obviously the funding is what's going to need to come. We need sponsored money from both endemic and non-endemic, sponsors to make
Hmm.
things kind of happen. So we're not just constantly, playing with our own money all the time. Need something to help G
Yeah,
out of.
yeah, I concur completely with that, and I think seeing a pro level event, I think it's earned for some people, especially in this space. You've got some people that they've really put their heart and soul into it, and they've hard, worked hard to get to where they're at. And there is a small handful of anglers that are they do well at this.
Hmm.
They do well at this. Um, but it would be nice to for them to have that space because they've earned it. They've earned it. Bottom line.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And you're right. It is a small group of people that are out there kicking butt and taking everybody's money, and then off the water they continue to kick butt. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
not like, well, I'm going to show up and bow up, on Saturday and Sunday and be a tournament champion, and that's it. Now they're putting in work with their partnerships via their different sponsors, social media content, doing things like you do all the time. I mean, it's a round the clock job where you're gathering and putting up out content for all these different partners you have. That's a lot of work going through and editing all that stuff. I mean, that is not easy work. If you think you're just going to wake up and, be the man, you got another thing
Mhm.
coming. You better go back to sleep because you're still dreaming, it's tough.
Yeah,
And
it is tough.
they put in the work. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and I mean, I hope that it can get to that one day for them. I mean, man, it's just so earned. To get back to to kind of highlight one of the things you said, how much work it is right now, and this isn't counting what I've deleted, um, content images wise that I've kept in the hopper, 2,769 different photos that I've actually saved on my phone or in my Lightroom that I will edit at some point. Maybe haven't got to it yet. Probably some of them will be forgotten as I keep going along. Um, but yeah,
Mm.
and that's not counting like the Google Drives and the hard drives that I've got full of different video and different things. And I've got two cameras that I haven't even dumped from Saturday still. So, I mean, and it doesn't, I mean, it's like, I mean, you come back with a GoPro and you know this. You come back with just this little thing right here, an action camera.
Yeah.
And you've ran this thing behind you all day. How big of a pain in the butt is it to sit here and go through one SD card worth of stuff?
Yeah. It's a giant pain in the butt. Just 228 gigabytes, whatever it is, on these. I,
Hmm.
I run a forward and a rear facing camera, and it's probably a solid 4 hours um, going through. And
Hmm.
because when you click it to kind of flag the segment where you have a good hook set or catch a fish or catch something cool out on the water, that 3 minute loop might not get everything you want, so then you got to go back through and
Hmm.
find the unsaved pieces to go with it. But then there might be some good B-roll that you just kind of miss out on, and you don't want to
Hmm.
leave anything on the table. So you're sitting there going through all that stuff, and um, that's gosh, it's a pain in the butt, but it's fun. I'm not going to say it's not enjoyable, but it's
It is fun.
fun.
It's fun to look back at it. And the YouTube community sometimes can get a lot of flack for oh, they're not real fishermen. They're just out there filming, giving spots away, blah 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 blah. Dude, if you knew like how much work these dudes put into what they produce, especially when you look at some of the bigger name channels like a Robert Field. all the crap that they have to footage that they sift through is just like, oh my gosh.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, and some of these trips could be like 2 days. And you take a guy like Robert, he edits Jeff Little. I've watched Jeff Little edit his own footage, and it's like he's he's constantly working. He's constantly working. When I've been around Jeff, he's constantly working.
yeah.
On if he's not talking to somebody about Torpedo Motors, he is editing footage in his downtime,
Or
trying to keep the
dreaming
videos coming.
about smallmouth.
Dreaming about smallmouth, editing footage about smallmouth.
Yeah, he's got a smallmouth addiction. But that, I mean, that tech piece of it. I mean, going back to the sport and a niche of our sport that I see on the decline a little bit, and you can chime in on this, is as that younger generation. We used
Mhm.
to in Indiana, the Indiana kayak anglers. I mean, we would constantly have what 100 plus, anglers in each tournament.
Yeah, back
And
in the day, yeah.
oh yeah, I mean, kids when Jackson was literally a kid. I don't even think he could drive when he started fishing those tournaments. Eight.
No, Aiden was still beating him up and taking his money.
Man, I mean, these kids were studs. I mean, they were just out there just beating the brakes off of everybody. Um,
Hmm.
but because that carrot is not really there for them to grow into that professional series, a lot of those guys have transferred over into the glitter boat world because that's the cool thing to do. They see it as more of a career path. So
More profitable.
yeah, absolutely. There is some ROI there. You know what I mean? It's your investment is much larger, but the
Hmm.
return, if you make it to that top level, if you make it, and it's a dream, and it's going to take a lot of hard work, but the potential is there, and that's where I think a lot of people are selling this dream to be on the national scene in the kayak space. Very few people are making money kayak fishing. Very few.
And
And
what a phenomenal group of kids, though, that we got to watch here in Indiana come up. Aiden Darlington, Jackson, or Nick Matthews, among others.
yeah,
These guys beat grown men, beat them up.
yeah, with their eyes closed. I mean, they're
Yeah.
and you're like, there ain't no way these guys are doing this, blah blah blah. And yeah,
Oh,
it's real life.
Aiden. Aiden took so many dudes' lunch money for the week. It wasn't even funny. I mean, he was constantly in the money there for a long time. Obviously, he, just like Jackson, had to go to college and start doing some different things. And these boys just kind of, Jackson's still doing his thing, but
Yeah,
at the same time, it's not as much as what he was at one time.
correct. Yeah, he was in every single local tournament. Obviously,
Hmm.
he's away from Fort Wayne, and down here at Carson Newman, but yeah, I mean, the youth movement I've seen a decline in it. You've got
Hmm.
the miners in Jackson. Um, Nick Matthews, he still fishes some of that POF stuff. But you see a pretty sharp decline. There's a lot of us old guys out there, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
Out there, beating the drum for the kayak world. But I'd like to see more youth get into it, keep the tech around for the kids because they like it. It keeps the kids involved. But yeah, if we
Hmm.
could create a level for them to try to strive for or achieve, I think that would help the sport grow as well.
So, at what point have you realized that you are now becoming the old guy at the boat ramp?
Hmm. I've realized it for a little while, but just I mean, hell, just looking around. Whenever people are like, "Oh, well, how do you have time to fish all these tournaments?" Blah blah blah. I'm like, well, I worked at this company for 23 years, and then I retired and worked for another company for 8 years, and then kind of got burned out. They're like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 what?" That's like 32, 33 years. And I'm like, yeah,
Yeah, they're like, I'm 30.
They're like, I'm 25, I'm 21.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh. Well, my youngest daughter is a freshman in college this year. And, it's like, she's the baby. The other
Yeah.
one, my oldest is getting married in December. So I
Yeah.
don't know, man. It's just, I'm definitely one of the old guys at the ramp. That's all right. I still like to
Yeah.
think I can beat up on them every once in a while.
It happened quick too. Like for me, I can remember going down fishing the big boat tournaments, and there was always this older group of guys that kind of took me under their wing, and I confided in them, and they were just kind of that peer group that just kind of as you're learning, they're teaching you, and whatever they're just good dudes that take you under their wing, and that's like shit. I'm them.
I'm that guy.
I'm them. I have went from that to now I'm them.
I am that guy. Yeah, we sit
I
around.
am that guy.
Just like this podcast started. I mean, think about it. We talked about the weather.
We
I
did.
mean, come on. I mean, we did. I mean, that's how we led into this whole conversation. Talked about the weather, and
Hmm.
and when you start watching birds, it's all over with. Weather and birds,
Yeah.
a game changer for. That's when you've gone over the edge and you're getting old. But yeah, being the old guy at the ramp, it's not always too bad. At least if you eat shit at the boat ramp because your Crocs blow out, there's going to be a young kid there to help pick you up. So
Or you just fall down.
yeah, press your little life alert button. Them young kids don't know about life alert. When you fall and you can't get
You fall down anymore, we're gonna have to get you some life alert.
up,
That's a bad day. It
no.
wasn't a bad day. It was a bad day for you. It wasn't so much for me. Um, Rudy says he's still at it at 50, so over 50. So
Oh yeah, there's some. Hey, and as much there's these young guys that are out there kicking everybody's butt. You got older guys like Marty Hughes. Uh,
hmm
I mean, he's in the top 5 for AOI on the bass side. Out there kicking butt. Joe McElroy, he can still show up and take your money. I mean, there's a gosh, I'd say there's probably 20 50-plusers out there that are still hyper competitive that could probably show up and take your money at any given day for sure.
Yeah, and there's probably a few that are older than that. That is the beauty of kayak fishing, and we've just talked about
Mhm.
another beautiful thing about kayak fishing is it knows no boundary in age.
Yeah.
Um, you can still get out there and enjoy it very leisurely at an older age, whether it's recreational or fishing wise. If you've got a lake or even a river that's got public ramps, concrete ramps, you get a good trailer, man. You can back these things in just like a boat. We both do, and then it makes it so much easier.
Yeah, I think I saw Jim Ware use a walker to get on his Blue Sky Boat Works the other day. I'm pretty sure.
Jim's going, like, what? But no, I mean, yeah, and there it is again, the Blue Sky Boat Works. I mean, so if getting down on kayaks not really your thing, there is still alternatives to participate in the sport. I mean, it is so not limited. Such a wide range, and it's going to be interesting as we all age and get older. There's got to be another wave. There's got to
Oh,
be.
yeah, I think it'll be a continuous thing. I don't see kayak fishing going away anytime soon.
Mm-mm.
Um, these boats, they're amazing pieces of plastic. They're
Mhm.
constantly evolving. The drive systems are so good anymore. Just they are well built little machines. I mean, you can drag these things. I mean, heck, you drag yours over logs through the woods, over rock, beat them up, drag them down the boat ramp. Um,
How many guys take a brand new boat and just drag it down the boat ramp just to break
drag
it
it
in?
down the boat. Yeah, everybody knows those boat ramps are nice and smooth. No, they're like cheese graters, man. And these little pieces of Tupperware, man, they take it like champs. So I would definitely see a constant influx of anglers, especially with the lower barrier to entry. It's just pure fun. Whether you go out by yourself just to enjoy peace and solitude out there on the water, whether you go out there with a camera instead of a rod, and you just want to, take some pictures
Take
because
the
it's
birds.
Gene Wilson puts out some incredible content, whether she means to or not, um, just because the stealthiness of the kayak, where you can get it, nature doesn't. You're not making a big impact on her on her living room when you're out there. You're one of them, and I think Mother Nature allows you into that space and presents you a lot of opportunities that you just can't get in a large.
Mm-hmm.
So that in
Yeah.
itself is the pleasure part. Or you go out with a big group. You want to pack a cooler full of ice cold brews and do a float.
Make sure it's legal in your state.
Yeah, and please do so responsibly. But yeah, you can do that, or you go out with 4 or 5 of your buddies and go out fishing. We're taking our neighbors out. They're new to town from North Carolina. There's 4 of them. We happen to have 4 boats, so there you go. Put them on the
Yeah.
water, and they get to go spend some family time together. Um, you can't just do that in any other space where you're the captain of your own little ship.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, hanging out on a pontoon is fun, but when you're
Yeah.
all meandering around on the water in your kayaks, gosh, it's such a good time. It's such a good time.
It is. It is. So we talked a little bit about the old Bassin Trail. I guess it's not old; it's only a year old. Um, what do you foresee? What's next? I mean, you've had a good year.
Mhm.
You kicked this thing off and put in the work. Where do you envision 2024 going with this thing?
I see it expanding. We've had some interest from some new directors in different states, so excited to see some growth in that space. And obviously, with anything, you, there's going to be trials and ups and downs, and you're going to iron out some wrinkles. And
Mhm.
I think we're going to continuously get better. We're going to figure out better ways to engage the anglers, better ways to um, build them up, put them on a platform that a lot of other clubs or tournament series can't do or don't do. That's one of the cool things. I mean, we've got our anglers via the social media space as well as jacksonkayak.com. Um, that you don't get that with other trail series. So we want to continue to level up, give our anglers a platform to showcase them and congratulate them on um, their hard work and the effort they put out. And we want to see that new angler participation continue to grow. I think that's the biggest thing. We want to get more people on the water in these kayaks and out there enjoying the space, enjoying the tournaments. And that's how we secure our future. We're a grassroots organization. We want more people to come and enjoy it. We invite everybody. And that's what I want to see grow more than anything. I want to see more butts in these seats. So
Mhm.
if you've ever thought about fishing a tournament, there's probably a good opportunity to fish a Jackson Kayak tournament trail somewhere close to you. We've said it probably 1,000 times, but we're like the working man's kayak trail. Um, most of the tournaments are going to be held on a single body of water or a couple bodies of water close by. So you don't have to travel very far. You don't have to spend days in advance practicing for it. These are going to be bodies of water that you probably fish in your free time on the weekends and you've got some knowledge of. So you don't have that huge investment in gas, lodging, and time off of work. So you're not only saving money, but you're not making money because you're not at work. So it's a cool, inviting way to fish competitively on the same day, on the same lake, make some new friends. If you're of age, have or want to have cool beverage afterwards, and just enjoy that camaraderie that comes from, the kayak fishing community. And
Mhm.
I just want to keep that piece growing and growing and growing, and just want people to come out and have fun, enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's Kayaking is a fun way to enjoy a day. Period.
Really is.
Winning or not, it is fun.
It's just fun.
It is fun.
Um, yeah. I mean, gosh, I'm looking forward to next year. I know it's like forever and a day away, and I
It'll be
still
here
got.
before you know it, man.
Oh shoot, yes, it'll be here like tomorrow. Um, but I'm looking forward to it, even though that it's like, um, we've got all kinds of time in between. Like I haven't even planned anything, but it's like I'm already working for it. Like Josh Smoky Biscuits come over today, and we put in some work and got ready to go. By the way, Rudy, I was third, you was fourth. Just a little dig there, camaraderie. Um, I think it's going to be a good year. I'm excited for the championship. And here's the deal: if anybody wants to come to the championship and just hang out, we're going to be at Kentucky Lake Outdoors.
Mhm.
Basically, it's going to be what the 12th through the 14th. We will
Right.
be at Kentucky Lake Outdoors periodically.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. Everybody, if you're listening to the streaming version, if you're listening to this, come hang out. Come check out the event, whether you're fishing the event, not fishing the event. I will be there. Jason will be there. We'll have a little meetup. Jason and I cannot fish this event. So what I would like to do is, and we'll put out some details. If you just want to come and hang out Saturday or Friday morning, the first morning of the event, we might do a meetup, meet and greet paddle,
Mhm.
meet and greet paddle. Say what, 7 a.m. to 10,
10. Yeah.
meet and greet paddle at the Kentucky Dam Marina.
Yeah.
Um,
It'd be a
we'll
good
create
chance to
an
come
event
out and
page.
test drive some of the best kayaks on planet Earth. I know
Yep.
Chad will have a couple of juicy ones out there. So,
Yep.
yeah.
I'll have my NAR. My Kusa X will be there.
Mhm.
The big rig will be floating around. So yeah, we'll be there. And like I said, if you guys just want to come out, hang out at Kentucky Lake Outdoors, they got lots of great tackle, lots of different brands of kayaks, especially Jackson's. Mainly they got a killer tackle shop.
That's right.
Um,
It is phenomenal, and they've got that juicy stuff, that
yeah, it's
little
not like
Ziploc baggie with a
mhm.
Sharpie written on it, like hand poured juice. Like our anglers
Yeah,
that are in this championship Thursday,
hmm.
when we show up for the meeting there, would do themselves a good service if they loaded up on some tackle. They've got
Oh,
some stuff, man. It's hard to go in
100%.
there. It is hard to go in there with you might want to leave your wallet at home because you're going to
Mhm.
spend money because they've got it. They've got everything. It's awesome. It's a phenomenal shop.
It is, it is. But we hope to, if you're in the area, Kentucky Lake Outdoors, come by, see us, hang out with us. I think the meeting on Thursdays at 4 p.m. Central. Does
Yeah,
that
I was
sound
going to say
right?
like 5 p.m., but yeah, 4 p.m. Central. Yep.
Yeah.
Because
So, yeah.
that's where we'll start. That'll be everybody's got to be off the water at that point in time. So we'll start getting people checked in and getting their boards checked and all that fun jazz. You
Mhm.
definitely need to come out and check us out. And
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. We'll shake hands and talk a little fishing. And I'm looking forward to it. Who knows what else will transpire for the two of us while we're down there. I'm sure we're going to catch some fish. Um, but
Yeah,
yeah, it's going to be.
I've not been around very many tournaments where I don't have to get up at the crack of dawn and you know go fishing. I've it's going to be a good time. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of these anglers in person and getting to know them a little bit better and putting them on
Mm-hmm.
a tree for some awesome prizes. A brand new Jackson NAR, $5,000 cash guaranteed for first place, and it's going to be awesome. Anglers have until was it October the 8th, which is a Sunday, to get signed up. So if you haven't signed up, get signed up. It's a little two-part process on usabassin.com. You get signed up, they will check you off. Basically, Marcia there at the office at USA Bassin will uh, get your registration. She'll make sure you're on the list for the top 200, and she'll send you the invoice so you can pay via credit card, and then you'll pay your $5.50 to Tourney X, and you're in, good to go. And yeah, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to present somebody with a new boat, some cash, and Duke over at Catch Outdoors. I've been communicating with him. I'm gonna be pretty jealous of the trophy. I'm not gonna lie. I wish I could compete for
Yeah, I wish I could have won it in front of Rudy.
it.
Sorry, Rudy. You know I love you, bro. No, me. So for those of you that don't know, we have a little directors, people affiliated with USA Bassin chat group, and me and Rudy been going back and forth. We traded third place off and on in the points all season long, and we just kind of razzed each other. Rudy told me he was going to go to New York and fish the last one just so he could like steal the points away from me, but it was all in good fun.
Yeah.
It was just a good time. It made it give us something a little to razz each other about, and that's what keeps the world going around.
Yeah. And you raise an interesting point, real quick, Chad. I know we're in that hour time frame, but another cool thing about USA Bass, and we really talk about that working man
Mm-hmm.
division, that local piece, but with tournaments spread from New York all the way down to Texas,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to, if you've got the time or money and you want to do a little bit of traveling, maybe go hit the Potomac,
Mm-hmm.
over Maryland, or then slide over and hit one of these big mega bass factories down there with Lance in Texas. There's bucket list fisheries all over this country that USA Bassin is putting a tournament on. So just another side pot to the goodness is you can fish all these tournaments all over the country. We've got
Mm-hmm.
them probably starting in February or March all the way up until like right now. So there's opportunities. But I believe we had 90 tournaments this year. Um, that's a lot of tournaments, a lot of opportunities for people to get out there and fish. So you don't have to
Mm-hmm.
keep it local if you want to, spread your wings a little bit and try out some of these, wonderful waterways across the country. USA Bassin provides you an opportunity to do that, and you can meet some cool people from across the country. You can meet that
Yeah,
crazy guy Rudy. You can go meet Lance. You can meet all these cool people that you see all over the social medias and find out they're even cooler in person.
absolutely. And like just like me and Rudy just razzing each other about points, and Rudy's in Maryland and I'm in Indiana. We didn't even fish together, but we still got to have a little points battle of our own. Um, being in our two different states. So that was kind of something that was a little bit different. That was just between me and Rudy and good fun. And you can do that with your buddies from all around the country. So it's fun. Now me and Rudy couldn't have touched Kansas because we didn't have near that many tournaments, but we'd have liked to try.
I think Kansas had more tournaments than they did water. Jacob
Yeah.
had, gosh, he had 5 different divisions going on, 4 of which were
Yeah.
5, and then he had a weeknight, which I would really like to see that weeknight jackpot, that fruit jar type of tournament
Hmm.
really show up. It's one thing I really enjoyed when I was on the big boat side over at USA Bass, and you could show up and fish one of those Thursday nighters or Tuesday nighters, and you just go out there for 3 hours and just freaking boom, boom. I mean, they're awesome.
You learn a lot.
They are so much fun. And
You learn a lot about time and time management, and I think you become a better angler through the weeknight series. But it's always funny, like the frustrations from the weeknight series. Like you go out there and whack 5 on a Thursday night, and then you come back and you fish the all day Saturday 8 hours, and you got like 2.
yep, you quickly start to rethink your process. Like, okay, was it
Oh,
that bush light I drank at takeoff?
most
It's a
likely.
little harder to do on Saturday morning.
It is hard. I ain't saying it can't be done,
Where
but
it hasn't been, but yeah, it's frowned upon. I think
it's
socially.
frowned upon a little bit. I ain't saying it hasn't happened. Um, but yeah, man, no, it's always good catching up with you, and I appreciate you jumping on here last minute
The
due to
pleasure is
some
all mine.
technical errors.
It's
But
all good. We appreciate you, Chad. We
hey,
appreciate
I'm
you and the
I'm just the
platform.
man behind the scenes. That's all I do. Play on the internet on my phone.
There you
So,
go, man. There you go. Well,
but yeah, guys, thanks for watching. So we will be back in action. The 3rd, September, October 3rd, we will be back with the Orion podcast. Once again, Zach should be back from his hunt, so maybe he'll have a big story to tell. I just don't know. Looking forward to getting that story from him, and whoever our guest is for that one. We've got a couple things in the hopper. We may have Jason from Wired to Fish on for one episode coming up here soon, in October. So look forward to that one. And of course, Jason and I will be doing some. We'll probably be doing some podcasting for the USA Bassin. So get over there, like USA Bassin Kayak Trail on Facebook. Dig yourself into the group areas. Our group is a clean group. We got moderators that keep everything on the up and up, so everything's not getting trashy. So yeah, get over there, like the group page. We'll start trying to get a little podcast with some of our anglers, some of our directors, letting you get to know them as we go through this these winter months.
hopefully it's nice and warm down here. I'm not going to miss Indiana winter.
I might be down there more often. Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you on the next one. Good night, everybody.